Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another edition of the Morning Slam Podcast, live here on the YouTube, also on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all that great stuff as well. Yeah, man, I am tired as heck. My name is Justin, and we're back today. Hopefully, I'll get energized up here, and we'll get ready to go here for his podcast tonight, because there is, oh man, NXT is wild. WWE is wild. Actually today too as well. I have a lot of special guests I'll be having here on the show. I'll be having my man back here, Buff Bagwell, come on the show. I have the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. Actually, I have CM Punk coming in as well. We're gonna get The Rock coming in. I'm actually getting Hulk Hogan on the show today as well, Kevin Nash too. So it's going to be a jam-packed show, guys, and, I have no competition out there, so I'm just going to, do my thing here, and Jesus, man, what the hell is WWE doing, man? But we're going to be talking about that. If you guys are living on a rock, or if you didn't catch NXT last night, or was not on social media, not only John Cena is going to be on the show for NXT next week, but also there's going to be a match between Roxanne Perez and Asuka. So Asuka is going to be on the show. Paul Heyman is going to be on the show as well. And most likely Judgment Day too as well, because they've been on NXT for a while now. And to top it all off, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. Yes, Cody Rhodes is going to be making his very first ever NXT appearance. So next week's gonna be a doozy. We're gonna be talking about NXT and everything there, and how people are saying that, oh, this is not to compete against AEW. This is just them stacking the show. All right, yeah, sure. We're also gonna be talking about, like I said, the whole NXT show as well. We got some backstage notes, or some plans notes from Mustafa Ali. Let me get my words together. We have some backstage notes for plans that was going to be for Mustafa Ali in NXT. We have, multiple sources. We'll have a story about Jade Cargill possibly debuting at WWE Fastlane. I'll be talking about that, giving my opinion on that, and also what brand she'll be going to as well. And, let's get the show started, guys. Thank you guys for coming out here. Yesterday was our biggest live stream to date so far, so I really appreciate you guys coming out, checking out the live stream, and, if I deserve a thumbs up and a subscription, I very much so appreciate that here on YouTube. Also, follow me on Twitter, X. Link is down below. It's still down, I believe. I don't think they fixed anything. I'm gonna check really quick live here on the podcast. I should have checked that first. Yeah, it's still jacked up. So yeah. So there's that. And also as well, follow me on Instagram. Instagram link is down below as well. I put a short up there yesterday, like a YouTube short up there on my Instagram yesterday. So, and also am gonna be putting up more shorts on my YouTube channel. Not every day, but at least a couple times a week, just to get my thoughts and opinions on certain topics. What else? Are we missing anything here? Oh yeah, of course, my company. I always forget my company. I guess I take it for granted. This podcast is sponsored by Spinebuster Tees, spinebustertees.com. We have the fall sale up and running today. Use fall 10 at checkout for our extra 10% off. Also, free shipping for orders over $40 before taxes. Check out the Hill Heat t-shirt, the I Am Pro Wrestling t-shirt, the Future Endeavor t-shirt, the Star Ratings t-shirt, the Vanilla Midget t-shirt. We have an array of t-shirts online at Spinebuster Tees and spinebustertees.com. And it takes about a week and a half to get to you at spinebustertees.com. Let's just start off with the nitty-gritty. I already kind of talked about it already a little bit. NXT last night. NXT last night was a normal show. And all of a sudden, and I was actually downstairs cooking, and I had NXT on my phone, and I was actually, making some dinner last night. All of a sudden, we saw a backstage interview with Kiana James. I like Kiana James. She's growing on me, a lot actually. Like Kiana James. She screwed over Roxanne Perez in the last segment in a match. And basically, long story short, Kiana James stated that I'm going to bring Asuka down to NXT next week to face off against you. And what's so big about this? Because next week on Tuesday is AEW's Dynamite. They're not going to have Dynamite on Wednesday next week because of the MLB playoffs. And they're preempted for that. But I will say this. I knew WWE was going to have to do something. And the fact that on AEW next week you have Adam Copeland on the show, his very first match in AEW, he's going to be going up against Luchasaurus. WWE has to do counter programming. And at the end of the day, I am fine for this. I'm totally cool with this. That at the end of the day, WWE is going to do counter programming against AEW for Edge's debut match. So you have Roxanne Perez versus Asuka. Also announced, you're going to have John Cena, who's only been in NXT one time a long time ago, over 10 years ago at this point, just about, in the corner of Carmelo Hayes. Oh, wait, there's more. Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, is going to be there. He has a major announcement that he needs to make. Maybe it's just for the Dusty tag. I don't know. But they're really stacking up NXT to be must-see TV next week. And granted, it's definitely going to kill AEW in the viewership and ratings. NXT is going to be over 1 million. Paul Heyman at the end of the show showed up and says he's going to be in the corner of Braun Breaker, because the match next week is going to be Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo's going to have Cena in his corner, and Braun Breaker's going to have Paul Heyman in his corner. I thought when Paul Heyman was at the end of the show, I thought he said that Roman Reigns was going to come. If they would have brought Roman Reigns out, that would have been a nuclear bomb on AEW. But they didn't do that. They feel like they didn't need to get the tribal chief involved. But to say the fact that AEW is not competition to WWE in some aspect, you're finding yourself, it's silly to think at this point. You got to search within yourself and to know that AEW is competition at this point to WWE. You know, who else? I mean, we still got a whole week to go, right? Who else WWE is going to bring? Is Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement? Is The Undertaker going to be there? Are we going to see Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? Is Hulk Hogan going to drop another leg drop, brother? At this point, it's not even NXT anymore. It's not even NXT anymore. It's just to, stifle AEW Dynamite in the ratings because Adam Copeland's making their debut. He's making his debut. And the fact of the matter is, I love this at the end of the day. It's childish, but I love this. It's very good business. How does AEW respond? Are they going to get Mercedes Moné? They don't have as much star power on that side. Are they going to get Mercedes Moné? Is Tony Khan going to call up CM Punk? Definitely not. It's definitely not going to happen. But it's just like, what does AEW have in their, wheelhouse to compete with this? So I don't know, man. It's very funny. We'll talk a little bit more about this in depth, but Jesus, man. The fact of the matter is that they had to get all these guys for revenge of what happened in 2019 and 2020 when NXT went up against AEW on Wednesdays and NXT was forced. Oh, they weren't forced to leave Tuesdays. Leave Wednesdays to go to Tuesdays. Oh, it's because of the NHL. We're gonna have the NHL on. All right. They wish they did. They did. I'm not saying that they didn't. They did. But, man, whatever. Whatever, WWE. Whatever. Okay. I'm going to be watching both. Honestly, I'll probably be watching WWE a little bit more at this time. I'll be watching the Edge match, too, as well. But, geez, man, it's... Woo! I love this. I haven't had this feeling since... the Attitude Era, the Monday Night Wars, 1996, 97, 98. So, this is dirty. The fact that they're bringing Cody Rhodes down there is dirty. Is dirty. So, and you got your WWE elitists out there saying, like, oh, we're not afraid of AEW. We're not afraid of them. We're just stacking the show. Then you got AEW fans in denial too as well, where they're like, "Oh, well, it's okay. They can have all of them down there. We're still gonna do good. You know what I mean? We're not gonna get killed in the ratings. You're probably about to get killed in the ratings unless Tony Khan does some great counter programming. WWE is so cerebral in everything that they do. They're so cerebral in everything that they do on TV, to making announcements, to just doing everything, picking locations for certain shows and certain premium live events, to doing merchandise and when to release that merchandise and they're so cerebral in what they do. You know what I mean? So, gotta give credit where credit's due. But man, like, you gotta call up John Cena? You gotta call up Cody Rhodes and Asuka and Paul Heyman. Again, I thought we were going to get Roman Reigns. I really thought we were going to get Roman Reigns. I swore on everything when I saw Paul Heyman. I was like, there's no way they're going to bring in Roman Reigns. There's no way. Surely there was no way. But, man, I really thought they were going to announce, like, the Bloodline coming in. And, again, there's still 7 days before they can, before the show is on the air. Because, Judgment Day is going to be there next week because Dom won the North American Championship. We'll be talking about that debacle. Well, I think that was something that didn't even need to happen in the first place, or on one question, why it even need to happen. But just a complete, you're putting everyone on that front line next week for NXT, and it's crazy to see. It's not even, and next week's not even going to be NXT, because are we even going to see a lot of the regular NXT guys on there? I'm pretty sure we will, but at the same time, it's like, whoa, man, like, it's just going to be a show just to stifle AEW. And what is Tony Khan going to do to respond to this? How is he going to respond to this? Is he going to bring in Mercedes finally? Is she finally going to come in? Is he going to, try to bring over someone like Okada? I won't. At this point, there's nothing that's out of the realm. Are they going to try to bring someone over like Okada, right? I don't think it's going to happen, right? I don't really think it's going to happen. But if it were to happen at this point, I wouldn't be surprised. Would they be bringing over someone else? Are they going to have a dynamic match, right, on the show? Are they just going to throw Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson out there just to do it? I don't know. It doesn't have any call for it. It doesn't have any reason for it. But I wouldn't be surprised at the same time. I don't know. But we'll be talking about NXT from last night. Overall, the show itself was okay. I enjoyed NXT a lot more the past few weeks other than last night. I wouldn't say it was a bad show. It wasn't a bad show. I'm not saying that at all. It was not a bad show. The booking of the last match, the North American Championship, with Dominic taking the title back from Trick Williams, there's a lot of things I'll have to say about that because it doesn't make sense. But there was story development on here. We did get the NXT Breakout Tournament to start as well. You know what I mean? So there was story that was being told here. So we'll be talking about that. And actually, let's start off with that right now, because NXT opened last night inside the Performance Center, and Becky Lynch comes out to cut a promo. And she says that she isn't medically cleared to compete, but nears Tiffany Stratton. She says Stratton gave her everything she had. She says she wants to elevate the NXT Women's Championship to heights that's never been. So we'll talk about that real quick. Of course, the NXT Championship is bigger right now because it's on a woman like Becky Lynch, one of the best of all time, right? But at the same time, when Becky loses that championship to whoever, it may be Tegan Nox, who's also there at NXT tonight. I mean, she's not like a huge star or anything, so that's fine. But or also it may be Lyra Valkyria, who won the there was a triple threat match that was set up from this promo segment that I'm about to talk about right now, and she ends up winning. So she could lose next week possibly. I don't know. But whoever loses the title to Becky Lynch is going to be, in theory, they're going to be looking at more than, right? They're going to be looking at more than, but really the title step is going to be less than. There's not going to be like the casual, 7, 8, 9-year-old that's going to go and watch NXT because Lyra Valkyria defeated Becky Lynch. That's not going to happen. It's not going to translate over. They hope it's going to translate over, but it's not. And I love Lyra Valkyria. I love her. I think she's an excellent talent. She's very underrated in what she does in the ring. She's great. She's great. But in reality, if we're not, kidding ourselves here, we have to understand and realize that she's just not at that level as yet. She's not even on the main roster. So anyway, speaking of Lyra Valkyria, she comes out. She says that the first episode of NXT, she ever saw Becky Lynch, first match in the company. She calls Becky Lynch the man and asks her if she knows what she's done for Irish wrestling and for her life. She says Becky inspired her to go the extra mile. And she did mention this as well. I don't know why they didn't put this in the notes. She said that the very first time that she saw Becky Lynch on NXT, she went to go and start training as a pro wrestler the next day. So that's a very important note as well. So that seems like a shoot from Lyra, so that's pretty cool. She says her career came full circle when she stood side to side with Becky, but couldn't help but wonder what it might be like to stand face to face. Becky says that she believes Lyra might be ready for her. This brings out Andy Hartwell, another main roster superstar, but really at heart is NXT. And she even said that as well. Like, this is forever my home. Then following by Roxanne Perez. Roxanne says she's sick of standing in the back and waiting for her shot. She wants her title shot at Halloween Havoc. Let's talk about the NXT Performance Center crowd. You guys fucking suck. Just gonna say it. You guys fucking suck. Why you guys are booing women like Roxanne? What's she done to you guys to boo? Like, the NXT, they need a, I mean, I know they're not going to because of budget reason and they like to save money, but maybe they can go around in Florida and like the shows that they would normally do on a, on a Friday or a Saturday for NXT, maybe they can actually broadcast NXT from wherever they're at. I don't know if it's because of an infrastructure issue. It could be that, or a lighting issue. It could be that. But man, oh man, oh man, like man, this Performance Center crowd is for the shits. Like they just be booing random wrestlers. I don't even think that deserves to be booed. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me at the end of the day, right? And I mean, and there's some things that they do good too as well. All right. I mean, it still fucking suck, but there's something like the whoop that trick, for Trick Williams. That's cool, right? You know what I mean? I like how they do the, this in the crowd for Ilya Dragunov, right? So that's all good. But it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's some of the women that they treat, more unfairly than the men. I don't know. But, man, if you guys are going to the Performance Center and you're in the crowd, be better, man. Be better. Like, what has possibly Roxanne Perez done to any of you guys? Just saying. But anyway, Becky says that she will sell on commentary with the three of them sell this in a triple threat match. Winner gets the shot at Halloween Havoc Night 1 against Becky Lynch. So that happened a little bit later on in the show. We had Mustache Mountain. I still call him Mustache Mountain. Tyler Bate and Butch defeats Gallus, the Gallus boys, of Mark Coffey and Wolfgang. It was okay tag team match. It wasn't anything great or whatnot. We get these four in the ring. It's not going to be a bad match. I wasn't really invested into it enough where I cared about it a lot. But at the end of the day, Butch and Bate win. They have some excellent tandem offense. Butch gets the pinfall. After the match, Joe Coffey jumps in the ring, and the 3-on-2 beatdown begins. However, suddenly comes out Ridge Holland, who made the save. And I was like, okay, obviously Ridge Holland was going out there, but within me, I was thinking, can we get Trent Seven to come out? I knew it wasn't going to happen, but, I just wanted to really see the real Mustache Mountain come back together. But it looks like we're going to get a 6-man tag between Gallus and the Brawling Brutes and Tyler Bate on NXT, maybe next week or maybe the week after. I don't know, but we'll wait and see. Ilya Dragunov, the brand new NXT champion, who I think should be wrestling next week too as well, because at this point they're just stacking the entire show. But he comes out to the ring. He's over. He's over with the crowd. Definitely over with the crowd. As I mentioned before, they were doing the conducting in the audience. Ilya gets in the ring and he says, you can call him, you can welcome him as the Mad Dragon or the Czar. He also, however he says his, I can't even think of the other words or Russian word, but let me see if I look at it. I think it's un bezi igaba. I can't say it. Un bezi gabar. I am not Russian, so obviously I will have a hard time picking up on that. But regardless of all that there, Ilya says at No Mercy, Melo brought the fight. And he said that he pushed him to his limits. He says he's barely able to stand tonight, but he stands as the champion. He says he will protect the promise he made and this belt with his life. And I really believe that Ilya Dragunov will put his life on the line for that NXT championship. All of a sudden, Trick Williams comes out. And Trick congratulates Ilya on his win at No Mercy. He says he is here to introduce himself as the new NXT North American champion. He thanks Ilya for pushing him to a level he has never been before at Heatwave. Like a good little callback there, because sometimes they don't do that. Ilya says that he's proud of Trick for winning at No Mercy. All of a sudden, Carmelo Hayes comes out to the ring. Hayes asks why he's thanking Ilya when it was him that came up with Trick, and it was always told him that he could be a champion. He says the belt is one thing, but defending it is another. Williams asks if he thinks that he can't beat Dom tonight. Mello says that's not what he meant. Mello says Trick needs to be more focused on Dom. Out comes Dominic Mysterio, and actually before that, Ilya, he actually instigated. He was like, "Well, what do you mean?" When Mello said that, he doesn't, he says that defending the belt, you need to defend the belt. Winning the belt's one thing, but defending the belt's another thing. And Ilya was like, "Well, what do you mean?" So Ilya just instigating. He had a A-class instigating badge. But out comes Dominic Mysterio. Trick asks him why is he always taking orders from Mommy. He says that he's going to be Whip Dom. Dom says that he's all man, that he promised Mommy that he was bringing the title back home. Trick says that isn't happening. Mel tells Trick that he will be in his corner tonight. Dominic asks how Trick can be so tall and still be in Mel's shadow. Trick declines Mel's help tonight and says he is going to defend the title on his own. You should have took the help, Trick. Just saying, because you're not champion no more. But it is what it is. But promo segment overall, I thought was good. They did a good job of bringing out both champions. One now just at this time one of the champions, and kind of still have that tension between Ilya and Mello, but especially Mello and Trick Williams. So I'm definitely down for this. Definitely down for this segment, and I thought I pushed that story a little bit nicely between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. NXT Championship number 1 contenders match, triple threat. Indy Hartwell, Roxanne Perez, Lyra Valkyria. Becky Lynch was on commentary for this. They did give the women some time in this match. It looked like that a little time, not a lot of time, I should say. A little bit of time for this match. Looks like at the end of this here, the notes here doesn't have anything about the match whatsoever. It just has the ending. So at the ending here, Roxanne Perez was going to win, but Kiana James came and pulled out Perez from the ring. Becky Lynch stood up from the booth and kicked Kiana James immediately. Lyra took advantage and hit the splash onto Indy Hartwell to secure the victory. Lyra will take on Becky Lynch night 1 at NXT's Halloween Havoc for the NXT Women's Championship. And that's not going to be until the 24th. So they got 3 weeks to build up to that show. So we'll see on what kind of story that they're going to tell. And they're probably going to have Lyra on Raw as well, which I'm totally down for as well. Like, love me some Lyra Valkyria. They may even have a match with Lyra Valkyria in perhaps versus Tegan Nox, or Lyra Valkyria versus Natty to be involved in that storyline, which I am 100% game for. You know what I mean? I think Lyra is very, very good. Very good. After the women's match, backstage, we see Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes. Braun says that after Mel lost at No Mercy, the crowd turned on him in favor of Ilya Dragunov. Braun says he knows how that feels. He says that Mello should channel that anger and rage onto the roster, especially Trick Williams. Mel cuts him off and tells him to keep Trick out of this. Braun says Trick wasn't there for Mello after the match, and in a way, a best friend should be. So And this guy forgot to put this in the notes as well, but Mel was like, no, I'm okay, I'm all right, and Braun was like, yeah, sure. That's the way I felt too as well. So I like the fact that they're using Braun Breaker here to channel I should say Carmelo's inner heel, and to bring the heel back out, because remember Mel was heel at first, but to bring out the raging heel that's inside of Carmelo Hayes right now, because he's not well right now. He doesn't have any title right now, and he's not well, and he's probably not going to get any other title anytime soon. So the fact that Braun Breaker, who at this point in time is just, a freaking, unstable raging monster on NXT, is something, it's something to see. It's something that's great right now. And Braun's trying to bring the same thing out of Melo, so which is good. We returned back from commercial. We saw Ilya Dragunov taking pictures with his new title. Baron Corbin shows up. He says that he was the only one to beat Ilya in the last year. He says that because he beat Braun Breaker at No Mercy, he's the one who's next in line for a title shot. Ilya says that he disagrees. Corbin tells him to take pictures with the belt while he can because he's coming for it. Ilya versus Baron Corbin, sign me up. Sign me up. I mean, Baron Corbin is going to, he's not going to win, obviously, right? But this is a very good first opponent for Ilya Dragunov to go up against. And the fact that they brought up that Baron Corbin beat Ilya, was the only one to beat Ilya within the last year, makes sense. It makes sense. Now, I'd rather see Baron Corbin win a number one contenders match, right, to go up against Ilya Dragunov. But at this point, he has gotten some wins on NXT. So if he goes up against Ilya, I won't argue about it too much. I just want one more match, like an actual official number one contenders match, but I don't think we're going to get that. Gigi Dolan defeats Blair Davenport, and I will say this, Blair Davenport, she is great at what she does. I was saying this to myself last night, that with Gigi winning here, it doesn't really hurt Blair that much because it was off a roll up, and that's how Gigi Dolan wins this match. She wins off of a roll up from after sub chair shenanigans in the match. But Gigi needed a win. She needed a win, a big win. Now, I'm not saying that this was a huge win, but Blair Davenport has been gaining momentum in the women's division. And Gigi needed a win. She needs some momentum. So hopefully she can continue this momentum, but I don't think this feud's going to end. So the match overall was very short, but Gigi does pick up the pinfall win against Blair Davenport. Mackenzie Mitchell is backstage with Kiana James, and this is where the shenanigans start. This is where the show really started. Kiana says that Roxanne Perez has always been treated as the golden child of NXT. She says she couldn't let Roxanne win another championship, and that's her goal, is always to be seen above Roxanne Perez. She says that if Perez wants a match against her, she has to go through her opponent next week. She then reveals the opponent to be Asuka. Asuka versus Roxanne Perez next week. So it was not Roxanne, but Asuka, is she Goro? Is this Mortal Kombat? Is Kiana James Shao Kahn? Is Kiana James Shao Kahn? Is Roxanne Perez Liu Kang going up that ladder? I don't know. And I knew they had to announce something, and I was like, okay, Asuka being there next week, going up against Roxanne. Okay, that's, you knew they were gonna do counter programming against AEW. That's, Asuka being there is more innocent. This is more innocent to what we end up seeing for the rest of the show here. They announced, or they introduced rather, the women in the NXT Breakout Tournament. So they had all the women out there. As of right now, you have a lot of great women in this tournament here. So you got Lola Vice, you got Kalani Jordan. I love Kalani Jordan. Lola Vice, she's green in the ring, right? But obviously she looks she's fucking hot as shit. But so you got Lola Vice. You also got Carmen Petrovic, who I'm very interested in as well. She's a black belt and she carries a sword around, so that looks very cool. I don't think I've seen her on Level Up. I'm pretty sure she has been. I know all these ladies has been on Level Up. I just haven't had the time to actually see their work as of yet. You also have Danny Palmer as well, who's been in and out NXT. But the woman that I'm going with to win the tournament, it may be a little bit too gimmicky. I don't think we're gonna get a babyface to win because we had babyface last year and Roxanne Perez to win the tournament. I am going with Ariana Grace, Miss Santina or Santino Morella. That's his daughter, Ariana Grace, who's dating Stax, by the way. So lucky man. That's a lucky man right there. But regardless of all that, I'm going to go with her. I think she looks very well. She has the look, and she has something that is good for WWE. It's similar to Chelsea Green, and I'm not saying similar gimmick, but similar the way that she is on TV. You know what I mean? So we'll see where this goes, but I am looking forward to seeing all these women in the tournament. But if I had to make a pick right now, I am gonna go with Ariana Grace to win, following by Kalani Jordan, because I love Kalani Jordan as well. So those are my two. So we'll say this: the match itself, there was the NXT Breakout Tournament match, first round. Kalani Jordan defeats Izzy Dame. Izzy Dame, she was doing this and all that stuff. Like, is she? I gotta look her up. Did she used to play basketball? Because she's doing this. Like, is Dame Lillard her favorite NBA player, and that's why her name's Izzy Dame? I may be wrong. No, she was a former volleyball player, so I have no idea then. She was a former volleyball player. And I did see that too. She was in the MAC. And I think she went to Michigan or something like that, or a school in Michigan, because Michigan's in the Big Ten, not in the MAC. But anyway, so Kalani wins. It was a quick back and forth battle, but Kalani Jordan, she is in she was in gymnastics, kind of like Tiffany Stratton, and she has a very good springboard moonsault. So Tiffany Stratton, who was also in the tournament last year as well. So, you don't need to win the tournament to end up becoming a huge star, because Tiffany Stratton didn't win last year, and look at her now. She's the best. She's one of the best women on the WWE roster, period. She's definitely top 5. She's definitely top 5 if you count, Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair and Bayley and Charlotte, right? I mean, you can put those 4 women, and you still got Io and Asuka, and so maybe not top 5, but definitely maybe a top 8 for Tiffany Stratton. She's fantastic. But anyway, after the match backstage, you see Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, and they find Thea Hale and JC Jane. Chase and Hudson offer their support for the ladies for the upcoming tag team match. Thea is not interested, but JC is surprisingly says that she thinks it's a great idea. She tells them to come down for the match and even leads a Chase You cheer. Andre doesn't seem convinced. So we come back from that segment, from commercial, and we see another Brian Pillman Jr. Vignette. I will have him debut next week. I will have him debut next week at this fucking point. Have Brian Pillman Jr. debut next week and have him attack John Cena. Just to stick it to Tony Khan. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. Or maybe have Brian Pillman Jr. interrupt Cody Rhodes' announcement. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see on that. But man, it's next week is gonna be a huge show, man. But next match we have Thea Hale and JC Jane to defeat Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. So Lola Vice gained some tag team action here. She didn't get pinned though, which is she didn't get submitted because that is the right thing to do because of the fact that Lola Vice is in this tournament. So Elektra Lopez had to take the submission here. But Hell and Jane, they won this match. It was a very short match. Hell wins, or Hell gets the win and locks in the Kimura lock to Elektra Lopez, and Elektra Lopez taps out. After that, we saw in the NXT parking lot, and we see the NXT parking lot. We see Carmelo Hayes, and he says that he just got off the phone. First, he says though that he isn't taking Braun Breaker's advice, and instead he's taking John Cena's advice. He announces that John Cena will be in his corner next week for his match against Braun Breaker. What? Wow. I already said it earlier. Like, this is the counter programming. I said earlier, if you guys want to hear about that, if you guys are watching this live on YouTube, you can go back and hear my thoughts about that. But man, this counter programming is serious. This counter programming is serious. And if you don't think it's serious, if you don't think that WWE doesn't think that AEW is competition, well, buddy, you got another thing coming. You got another thing coming if you don't think that AEW is competition to WWE, because they are. They are. In some aspects, they are. In some aspects, they are. But, yeah, man, it's very, 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 very interesting. Very interesting that, that this is happening. This is happening on next week on NXT. So, after that, we get the Cody Rhodes announcement on NXT as well. So, back-to-back segments, they announced Cody and they announced John Cena. So, let's talk about Carmelo Hayes real quick. We'll talk about Carmelo Hayes real quick. I think that Carmelo Hayes, and I said this on yesterday's show, that at Fastlane on Saturday, the match with the LWO, it seems to be a 4-on-3 right now, versus the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. It seems to me that they may try to add a fourth person. I think that a perfect fourth person would be Carmelo Hayes. After all this here, I don't think that's going to happen. And I was kind of saving this for Friday's predictions, but I'll say it right now. I just think still being a triple threat match, or not triple threat match, a six-man tag rather, of the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley versus the LWO, being represented by Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and Dragon Lee. I think Dragon Lee is going to make his official main roster PLE debut on Saturday at Fastlane. And also on top of that, he's wrestling against Austin Theory this Friday too as well. So we'll talk more about that on Friday. We'll see what happens there. But we have our main event. Dominic Mysterio retains the NXT North America Championship against Trick Williams. Match wasn't great. It was fantastic. But one thing I will say this is that, when I say it wasn't great for a test, I didn't say it sucked either. So I don't want people to think that, he said this match sucked. No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is I didn't think it was better than the one at, than the one a couple days ago at No Mercy. That was a little bit worse. Still a good match. Just a little bit worse. The whole Judgment Day came out there. So this match originally was supposed to have JD McDonough in the corner of Dom. That's what was said on Raw on Monday, that JD McDonough will be in the corner of Dominic Mysterio. He wasn't out there, but the rest of Judgment Day was, including Finn Balor. Finn Balor was out there too, so good to see Finn Balor back on TV. My main question is, if this was going to be the result, why even take the title off of Trick Williams in the first place? Now, Trick Williams wasn't supposed to be in that match originally. It was supposed to be Mustafa Ali. And according to Fightful Select, Mustafa Ali was supposed to win the North American Championship prior to his WWE release. Were they going to do the same thing? Was this going to be the same exact story? But instead of Trick Williams, they did Mustafa Ali? I don't know. I have no idea. But I want people to give me their logical thoughts on why you put the title on Trick Williams in the first place, if this was going to be the end result. Now, you're possibly going to get a feud between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes as two losers feuding against each other. I'm going to care less about that now than what it was with the title. Because remember, Carmelo, at the end of No Mercy, was looking at the North American Championship. Now, granted, if Melo wanted to go and try to get the North American Championship against Trick Williams, I would question that as well, because it's like, well, you just lost the NXT Championship. Like, why do you want to go after a title that you already won already, and that's not even the top prize? Do you want to go after the title because if Trick can't have a title, no one can have a title, right? If Trick can't have a title, or I'm sorry, if Trick has a title, I want to take title from because I still want to look, dominant over him. If they told that story, okay, I get it. It makes Mel look less than for the meantime because he wants to go straight back down to a mid-card title for NXT versus staying and trying to get the title back from Ilya Dragunov. But, whatever. Now, they really have no story other than we're both losers. We're going to be going up against each other because you made me doubt myself, or I don't know. But they have the story there. It's building up with Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker, telling that story to Melo is building up there. I get it. I don't know. At this point, I don't know who's going to be going to be facing this feud. I don't know if it's going to be Trick. I don't know if it's going to be Melo. I don't know. And the fact that I don't know is not a good I don't know in this situation. This match here, and Dominic, and again, and I mentioned this before, I don't agree Dominic having the title in the first place because he's a main roster guy, but if you're going to have the title on him, at least keep the title on for a little bit. Don't have him lose the title and get it back. It's stupid. They shouldn't even take the title from Dominic Mysterio if this was going to be the end result. Head scratcher of the year for me for NXT. Like, didn't make any sense. This was a complete miss. A complete miss on the logic on this. No one can tell me logically why this happened and why this needs to happen. This could have been done without Dominic losing the North American Championship. So, at the end of the match here, Finn Balor gets involved. He hits Trick Williams with the tag team title belt, and Dom hits a frog splash for the victory. Overall, match was fine. It was good, but it wasn't as good as their match at No Mercy. The show ends with Paul Heyman in the NXT parking lot, or I don't know if it was the NXT parking lot, but he was in the parking lot. Heyman says that Roman has asked him to counter John Cena next week. And at first I thought, I knew Heyman was probably going to be there when he showed up. But when I first saw Paul Heyman, I was like, there's no way they're going to bring down Roman Reigns. There's no way that they're going to drop a Roman nuke on AEW. But they didn't. Next week, he's going to be in the corner of Braun Breaker is Paul Heyman. That's NXT, guys. Next week's not even going to be NXT because it's going to be just craziness. But man, it's I love it, but at the same time it is petty, it is childish, all in one, and I love it. And AEW too as well, like I expect them to do some counter programming as well. I don't know what they'll do for the counter programming. But yeah. So that was NXT, guys. Overall, I didn't think the show was great. I didn't think the show was fantastic or anything, but next week that's gonna be a must-see show, and I expect NXT to be at least at a 1.2 million next week. They're gonna get their highest drawing show of the year next week, so we'll see how that shapes up. But moving on. So we already talked about Mustafa Ali here. So the other big news story here this week, and this is going to be a short show today, guys, because I don't really see any other news that is out there. This is really my only news story. I didn't see any news before we came on to the podcast this morning. I have my usual folks that I look up for news. There's really no news out there. I mean, the major news is what we talked about, is with John Cena and Cody Rhodes and Asuka all coming down, along with Paul Heyman. So that's the major news this week. But outside of that, I don't really see any additional major news stories. But we'll talk about this here. And this is from PW Insider. According to multiple WWE sources, Jade Cargill is slated to be at Saturday's WWE's Fastlane pay-per-view in Indianapolis. The early word this morning was that she will be heading to the Raw brand. If that is, I believe that's Nick Johnson from PW Insider as well that reported on this. If that's the case, that she's going to Raw, good. I don't need to see her and Bianca have any interaction yet. Save it. There's no need to rush it. Bianca and Charlotte should be the match for WrestleMania. It just should be. You may be able to do Jade and Rhea Ripley, perhaps. But Rhea Ripley going to Raw is good. Now, a lot of people are saying that, is Jade Cargill debuting? Can she debut at Fastlane? This is WWE's first premium live event since the merger. And let me look it up here real quick. Hold on. Since the merger was official, I should say. And since Fastlane is this Saturday here, the previous pay-per-views to that was No Mercy. Then you had Payback. Payback was on the 2nd. So, of September. So the fact of the matter is that could they debut Jade Cargill this weekend? Absolutely. That they can have her debut. 100%. Do I think it's gonna happen? They may have her in the crowd. They may have her do a spot. But I don't think it's a call up to the main roster. They may have her do, Jaded, to Bayley or something. Because Bayley's going to be out there. You know what I mean? There's only, as of right now, there's only one women's one women's match in general on Fastlane. So do I think that she is going to be there? I think so in some aspect. She's going to be backstage for sure. And really, at the end of the day, this could all be her just being backstage, just to introduce herself to some of the main roster talent that she hasn't met as of yet, right? She's probably gonna meet, I know she's already met Triple H, but she's gonna meet the people in Gorilla and meet the hair designers and the makeup artists there and the seamstress people there. She's gonna meet some of her colleagues and all that. So I think that's the main reason why she's there. But do I think that WWE will put her on the PLE even just as an appearance? That's a strong possibility that they may do that. 100% a strong possibility that they may do that. So I won't be surprised if she shows up. We'll talk a little bit more about it on Friday when we do the Fastlane preview predictions. And, the fact that she will be on Raw, I mean, it's not confirmed, obviously, but as of right now, the early word that she will be on WWE Raw, I am 100% game for that. I think that's a very good spot for her. Now, if I had to pick, I will have her down in not necessarily NXT on the show. I'm kind of backtracking on that, but I will definitely have her in the Performance Center for a few months before she actually debuts on TV. I'm also hearing as well that she may be on Raw. She may be on the Raw roster, but they may have her debut on the main event. I don't know if I'll do that. Dark matches, yes. Have her do dark matches. Have her do anything that is not supposed to be on TV. Obviously, you're going to get, crowd shots of Jade wrestling. So that's probably going to happen. But as long as it's not on TV in high definition and all that, I think that's a good idea as well. But this is their investment. They need to protect Jade. I know they're going to do everything that they can to protect Jade and make her look like a big star. So that's what they need to do with Jade Cargill, in my opinion. If she's going to be on the main roster on Raw, great. I like that. But have her be down in the Performance Center for months before they actually bring her up on TV. But there's a very good chance that she'll be on TV on the Fastlane pay-per-view this weekend. So we'll have to wait and see. At the end of the day, and see what happens and see how they execute if she is there. So that is the Jade Cargill news, and that is, I don't see any other news, guys. This is a short podcast, unintentionally a short podcast, but it was a short podcast today. So, looks like we're going to be going just underneath an hour here on today's podcast. Very unintentional. Hopefully there's more news to talk about tomorrow. On tomorrow's podcast, because man, as of right now, there's not a lot of news going on outside what I talked about already. If there was no news on the John Cena, Cody Rhodes, and Paul Heyman situation going to NXT and the counter programming, then this would have been even a shorter podcast. But I will say this as well. I know today we're gonna get even we have to get some backstage stuff. We have to get some backstage stuff on what is to happen next week on NXT and even AEW as well. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But guys, that is it for me over here on the podcast today. Be sure to follow me on X. Link is down below. I mean, I'm blocked on X, but also follow me on Instagram. Link is down below. I am putting up shorts on Instagram as well, so check me out there. More content is coming up on Instagram as well. Also subscribe to me or follow me on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Spotify is the way to go for me as far as on the audio platform, so follow me on there as well. And also, last but not least, my company. These are my t-shirts. These are my design t-shirts. Spinebuster Tees, spinebustertees.com. Takes about a week and a half to get out there to you. Get the new mommy t-shirt. It is an inspired Rhea Ripley t-shirt from the Icon series. Also as well the Hardcore Wrestling t-shirt. I also have a t-shirt for women, a women's exclusive that is called Women's Wrestling, where it has all the women on there as well. So the Just Enjoy Wrestling, the Vanilla Midget. So a lot of great t-shirts on there. The I Am Pro Wrestling. I have a lot of great designs on there that you guys can check out from Spinebuster Tees and spinebustertees.com. That is it, guys. You guys have yourselves a great Wednesday out there. We'll be talking about AEW Dynamite tomorrow as well, and Edge's debut on the program that's going to be happening tonight. This is going to be kind of promo time, so that's going to be fantastic to look at and see. But outside of that, guys, you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for another edition of the Morning Slam Podcast. See you guys later. Peace!